Meeting of the West Hampton Board of Selectmen. This meeting is being broadcast on local cable TV and recorded for rebroadcast on local cable channels and on the internet. Just as an update, remember the town election is a week from today. It's not on Tuesday. It's on Monday, May 7th in the annex from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. A sample ballot is available online at www.newbury.org. Also, would like to thank everybody that contributed to the town cleanup. A lot of trash was removed from the sides of the highways and the roads in West Newbury. It looks better. And I'd like to thank the Department of Public Works for their work in cleaning up the huge tree and limb debris that was around.
Very successful.
Our first item on the agenda is an appointment to the Conservation Commission. Margaret Hawkins. Hi, can you come up here, Margaret?
Mark, can you just make sure that microphone is on, the one you're going to sit at? Yep. It's not, I don't think. It's not for... It says it's on. Oh, I'm sorry. It's not for here, so if you don't... It's for recording. Yeah, you're not going to hear it. Uh-oh. Oh, you might have heard it from me.
You might have picked it up.
Okay.
Good night. Good evening.
Thanks for coming in. Tell us why you might have an interest in this.
I feel very strongly that there needs to be a voice for wetland protection in West Newbury. And I have experience with working with conservation for many years. So I worked for Mass Audubon. I worked in Florida for the Conservancy of Southwest Florida as well, doing education. So I feel like I know quite a bit about public outreach as well as more of the scientific issues as well. So.
Any question, Joe?
I don't have any questions.
No, we talked over the phone.
Sound like you're great.
We talked over the phone, so that...
Great person to have on the conservation.
Full disclosure. One question I have is are you still doing the garden up a page?
The garden is there, yeah. It's been a little strange this spring just because of the moving out of the school and having to move back. I think the teachers were a little bit behind in getting the garden started, but I've done some planting with the garden.
Already, but make a motion that we now. This is, how does this work? This is to fill the position for the person who resigned. So when is this?
Who resigned?
It was, you had to ask. You have it?
Just a second. I got the book here.
That's old.
I think
That's probably not up to
That's
date,
really old,
Rick.
Rich.
Yeah.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, can you say louder, Rich, please?
Wendy Reed, Tracy Peter, Don Piscato, Judy Meissner, Tom Atwood.
I think the second one.
Here, hold on.
Huh. So, we do run. See, this is one of the reasons why we have a town. We elected to get a town manager. We don't remember anything. This is our new town manager right here. If that's the reason why I said it. This is Angus.
Ready?
Yeah.
It's Tracy Peters. She resigned on January 6th.
Yeah. Okay,
What's her term?
2020.
2020. Okay, is that okay?
Yep.
We got you for. We got you.
You had to look at the ceiling to think about that. Yeah.
We got you for June 15th, 2020.
June 30th.
June 30th. I'm sorry, that's right, we changed. Make a motion that to appoint Margaret Hawkins to.
Further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Now, you've already filled out your confidentiality. I saw an email trail today. you need to be sworn in by our town clerk.
Okay.
You can do that at any time. He's not here tonight, but,
You're fast getting the, that
Yep.
certificate.
and they have a meeting coming up, so, I think, next week. They don't have, they were scheduled to have one tonight, but it's town meeting, so I think they have one next Monday, Monday. But, what will happen is that Mary, if she could, give all your information from your, application, your contact information, to the Concom's chairperson. So then you can make sure that you're in their loop, so you can get all the information for the upcoming meeting.
And that would be Judith?
No, she just, no, Mary's our assistant.
Her application to Jay Smith, who is, what is Jay's
He's the,
title?
Conservation agent.
He's
the
our
conservation
agent, yeah, so he runs the office, and so he got everything.
Yeah, but he needs to know that you were appointed.
And I'll let him know you're appointed, so I'm sure you'll hear from him. Okay.
Thank you, appreciate it.
And you just need to come in from 8 to 4:30
That's right.
to get sworn in by town clerk. Anytime this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're closed at noon on Fridays.
Yeah, I noticed that. Usually.
Thank you. Williamson. Are you Jody?
Yes,
Hi.
I'm Jody.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Hello,
Hi.
Gloria. So this is our third year of Walk-Fulton syndrome in West Newbury, next door, and we are doing this for the cause of Malone syndrome and associating. And tomorrow we're gonna have a blue day, wearing blue, and we're just hoping that it could be a fun year this year.
I don't see anybody see any?
No, I mean, one of the reasons I think that we have you in is that it is a special event and that we're using the roadway, Crosstown Road, using the sidewalks. And I know you applied very early, but then there's some information gaps that I think we just got like a week or two ago. So we're probably going to revise our policies as a result of that. So next year, if we could ask if you could get the information. You submitted your application, but I think there was some follow-up stuff that just kind of got dropped.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we just need lead time. That's all. And we're only,
Towns don't do well turning on a dime,
yeah.
sometimes.
And I think you did it a certain way over the years, and then we changed it on you. And it's hard, unless you do things continually, it's hard to understand that we changed when you did your application like you've always done it, and it was always approved, and then all of a sudden we changed it, so.
We're trying to be a little bit more conscientious and evaluating things just a little bit more thoroughly, that's all.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Want to make a motion?
So, I make a motion to approve and waive any relative fees.
For the May 20th event. And use-
So it's 18, 19, and 20.
And use
Yep.
of the annex. Okay.
Yep.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next item is just, I wanted to discuss whether perhaps the town should have a policy related to mailboxes. We have had some complaints on that issue related to mailboxes maybe being damaged by the snow. The town doesn't have an official policy, and I think it puts the DPW in between a rock and a hard place. No pun intended. That sometimes is it their fault or not their fault or whatever, and they have to make the decision. And a lot of towns have a policy, and if we had a policy, then there wouldn't people would know, and there wouldn't be any disputes about this.
Can we start with where we're at now? I think we have an unwritten policy. Is that accurate, Gary?
Not really.
Not really? Okay.
So we have nothing.
You don't? Okay. I didn't know if you had a procedure. that
Well,
you
one
follow.
thing I think we should,
No?
one thing we need to,
I mean, what do you do today if somebody calls with a problem?
We call today, winter so. What we generally do is depends on the situation. As a rule, we don't work on design of mailboxes per se. Like, somebody spends $500 for boxes. Technically, in the right of way, we have no responsibility for that. So, a lot of times they've been in the ground for 20 years, and you breathe on them hard, they fall over. Sometimes, you get a heavy wet snow, sometimes the plows will, not the plow itself, but the snow will knock them. And there's so many different variations that it's pretty hard to have an exact thing. If somebody calls and, they're elderly or unable to do something, we'll help them out and put something back up. I've been telling most of the ones with the expensive boxes that, that's they're at their own risk. If you want to spend $700 for a mailbox in New England, go for it. I don't have any, I'm not going to replace it. That's something you guys want to
I read a lot of different, I went on a lot of different towns' websites. Some had none, some have several towns that did have policies in what to do. And the ones that did allow for replacement, they, in not a single instance could I find of a town that would, just whatever it is, we'll fix it. It was they had most of them had a cap of $50 or $40. Some of them had to, in terms of what the town would reimburse the homeowner for. Others said flat out, we won't do anything. And so I think that in getting into fixing really fancy ones is above and beyond and not what any other town does.
So, technically, I'm supposed to have a fixed object in the right of way, like a 6x6 granite post or a 6x6 or 8x8 wooden post, unless it has a breakaway feature on it.
Right.
I have to do that along my street signs.
The Department of Transportation regulations want something that's going to give way. They don't want a granite post buried in concrete. They really don't want that.
If a car hits one of those granite posts at the right angle, it's going to lift up and right through the windshield and kill somebody. Versus a 4x4 would probably just mow it down and then drive over.
okay, so let's
go ahead.
Okay, so we had all that stuff out of the way? Okay, so is there what about liability on the plow person? All these plow people have insurance. So when you say policy, I don't think it can be black and white. So what if we have a rogue plow person that comes around and just does a horrible job and wipes out a couple of mailboxes, and it's that person's fault, and not. So I don't think it can be black and white in that respect. Every single plow person has liability insurance if they're working in town. So I don't think it's as easy as 1, 2, 3, and I don't think it's easy as doing this and doing that if they're elderly and this and that. We need to have something. I don't think tonight's the night because I want Mike here to talk more about the legal aspects of it.
Well, on that part of it, we treat hired plows as if it's one of our plows, and working for us, unless they're in a motor vehicle accident, something then they're on the road. That's what that insurance is. I told everybody plow, so if you knock the box down, you got to put a new one up. I wouldn't have anybody plow.
I didn't say that. They have insurance. Plow people have insurance. I didn't say that. See, this is where.
But I'm sure there's Glenn, there's a deductible.
The conversation always gets crazy, and that's the reason why I don't think we have something in place.
I'm just telling you what a lot of other towns do, and nobody
I'm not advocating
yeah.
for one or the other. I don't think it's that as clear cut as we think. And I think this is here because of one situation, and if I'm not mistaken, this person was told to put this here by our DPW person. So I think this was even, and then they even did it more. I think that we need to not be in the business of telling people there too, hey, it's going to be safe if you put it here. That's an applied thing. And then they even put it farther off the road, and then it still got knocked down. I think we need to have, if we're going to do this, we need to have, there's an applied thing of safety, I think, there, right, wrong, or indifferent. We need to, if we're not going to be fixing people's mailboxes, we got to get out of the business of telling them where they're going to put them. You understand that aspect of it also?
Probably true.
Yeah.
Probably true.
Well,
It's not our responsibility.
Well, actually, the Postal Service does have exact recommendations where mailboxes should go.
Correct.
but that's for their mail carriers, not necessarily the snowplow.
Right.
If I don't tell somebody, put it wherever you want, they're gonna put it right on the edge of the curb. I told this person, put it 3 feet back, 4 feet up from the ground. That's not a guarantee, it isn't gonna get knocked over. It's a safer guideline than putting it right on the edge of the pavement.
Is this a private contractor that was plowing?
Our truck plows that road, so I'm not saying we did it. Our truck plows it. We probably got 12 in the mailbox. If every storm we get 2 or 3 complaints at the box, that's just the nature of the business. It's gonna happen. There's no way to.
Well, we don't have, the problem is it's ambiguous. We have no policy. We have Gary trying to be nice to people and fixing some, and then when one comes out, we're not going to fix yours, and then it becomes, we get pitted against.
I know, that's why,
That's the problem. So
if we have a policy, that there won't be ambiguity. Yeah.
I would agree with you.
Okay.
Over the years, I've asked for that.
I mean, and then, hold on for 1 second. And then this gets into fences. Does this get into fences? So if we're gonna have one for plows, it's fences, because then Gary is subject to, I know for a fact, people on Hilltop Circle, or I think it was Hilltop Circle even last year, so they're looking for, because the plow hit their fence, and their fence come down, and so forth and so on. So I think if we're gonna do it, it's all plow or whatever related things rather than just mailboxes, because if we're gonna do it, and I would agree that we should do it, we need to address the whole thing.
Fine, so why don't we ask the DPW director for his recommendation?
In writing.
In writing, for a future meeting, and then we can talk about it to the policy.
So what do you want to do about this person who feels that they've been wronged?
Are they here?
Yes, she is. I didn't realize it, but yes, she is.
She wants to talk.
Did you want to talk?
Would you like to talk?
You can't talk from there, though, because you have to be on the microphone so people can hear you at home. And if you feel, come on up. Sorry, I wanted to stop you before you start talking, because then we get.
I want to make sure everyone knows that I think the DPW does a wonderful job. I really think our streets are plowed phenomenal. The reason this whole issue came up for me is I've lived here a little over 20 years, and seriously, every year of those 20 years, something happens to the mailbox. The post, the mailbox, whatever, which is why my daughter and boyfriend installed the granite post. I don't know what the right-of-way is off the street, what that clearance is, but I did measure it's 42 inches off the street. And it's placed near a telephone pole. The whole thing was in hopes of me not having to replace it, because it's not just it was always a wooden post before. Not just the cost of replacing the wooden thing, but just for me, as I get older, I hate to admit it, it's going to become more and more challenging for me to do. So that's why we installed the granite one. The post itself, I believe, cost $200. And I just felt, since we received the recommendation for 36 inches off the street. And it was our solution without complaining to a previous problem. I was just hoping for some sort of compensation or help in replacement.
When you say help, what does that mean?
Money.
Okay.
Because I actually, my daughter's boyfriend said he will install it if, you know, if we can get them close. I mean, it was, and I know it's dark when they're plowing, and it's hard to see, but it was, you can see the chip in the granite that was hit by the plow. So it was hit by the plow, if that makes.
I feel your pain. Mine got hit too this winter.
What?
I said, I feel your pain. Mine was hit too.
Well, it's
I try to put it, there's a telephone pole, I try to put it in back of it, so you can, so if they're gonna hit something, they're gonna hit the pole, but it got hit anyway.
My granite post got hit too.
It's interesting because
I don't think a granite post is the answer. I think granite's worse than wood. Not because of the expense. When you hit it, it snaps. At least mine got pushed. And that was, I think, by my own plow guy doing my driveway. But I've lost them. They're easily snapped. People think they're stronger, but as soon as you hit it, it snaps. They're not stronger than wood. I personally don't think.
That's why for me, it would be interesting to know what the right of way is off of the street. Because if it's beyond that right of way, then it shouldn't be there.
So I'm not going to speak that I know, but I'm going to just pretend.
Yeah.
The right of way starts from the middle of the street, and I don't know what the and I forget what it's like. If it's a 20, and it goes from like the middle.
Is pretty wide.
Yeah, it goes from the middle and it goes on either end, and I don't know what that. You know, people put walls, people put everything in the right of ways, and they're not actually supposed to. We've actually had people who installed professionally and paid a lot of money to put a stone wall in, and we actually had to have them push it back.
What do we want to do with this?
I don't know.
I mean, if you want to continue to think about it, because making a decision in one day, and talking about this all night is not necessarily the best idea. Great, but just don't forget about me. I mean, one way or the other.
Okay. Would you feel comfortable if we come to a determination of our policy, and hypothetically we say whatever that policy is, if we're going to cap it or we're not going to do it at all or something like that, then I don't know. I'm not going to speak right now because I don't want to give you any false hope. So I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
So if you'll just get back to me, that would be lovely.
We will absolutely do that, yes.
These simple things are a lot more complex than in our position because, like, now we have to talk about fences and we have to talk about mailboxes. So
well, no, I know.
we appreciate you letting us talk about it.
How many people in West Newbury would, once they found out, would now say, "Well, I want mine replaced, and I want mine replaced."
That's why I stopped. That's why I stopped my sentence when I said to you before we have 1,600 homes. So you can imagine. So thank you for being for letting us think about it.
Thank you. What's that? Yeah, go ahead.
So next item on the agenda is the discussion of Middle Street and the Plummer Spring Bridge Road closure and detail route. So just to reiterate, the Mass DOT recommended with that from an inspection they did in February, the bridge be closed to vehicular traffic. They deemed it a critical structural deficiency. So it's actually located in the town of Newburyport, so they're the ones that are going to drive the replacement. They originally said they were going to close it on May 25th. Then they came up with a second date. Now they've come up with a third date. And I don't know. I don't know if this is because of discussion within their departments or what the reason is, but I spoke to their chief administrative officer today. His name is Paul O'Brien. He works in the mayor's office. So they would like to go with June 26th as the date, as a firm date. He committed to that date.
Is there a
Do they
reason
have a
why
reason why they
why
want to
they
keep
changed
putting
from
it out?
May 25th to June 1st, to July 1st, now to June 25th?
Yeah, and because I wanted it personally.
I want it
closed
done
sooner
now,
than later.
yeah.
Well, I mean, if we close Middle Street, it's essentially closed, so that's what's up for discussion. He was talking about some school transportation, but that didn't make sense to me because Newburyport schools are over there and Kentucky schools are over here. So I don't know if he was talking about some private school, but that's what he said.
So they're getting pushback from somebody that wants to delay it.
Yes, so that's our choice. We've already voted May 25th, so if we want to revote June 26th or keep it.
Can we have some discussion about that?
Yeah.
So I like to further the discussion on just our closing the date. It seems like after reading the article in the paper, I have no real understanding on how Newburyport's going to handle this and when they're going to handle it.
Okay, well, I can fill in that. I thought we were talking about the date, but so moving on to what their plan of action is. They've applied for a Massachusetts Small Bridge grant. Unfortunately, that only is up to $200,000. He was estimating that it would cost between $1 and $2 million, not knowing an actual number. So they have not been approved for that grant yet. They applied for it, and they were going to use that money to do an engineering study. So that will give them some firm numbers. So that's the plan.
Do you know what the turnaround time on that grant is? On the grant?
No, they have not found an answer yet.
No, but, I mean, the grant has to, is it?
They've applied, and the state has not answered.
That may be subject to how many other applications they
Is there
have.
any way, I mean, just for our own, I understand that it's in Newburyport, we're kind of.
They're driving the bus. Basically.
Yep, they're driving the bus. But it affects.
Hopefully not over the bridge.
It affects West Newbury people.
Yes, it does.
So I wouldn't mind that, and it's kind of like at the end of, I wouldn't mind to try to stay on top of this. It sounds like they have no money and they have no plans on even being able to do this for an extended period of time. That's what I'm trying to get at. And that's what scares me.
I don't know that. I'm just telling you the conversation that I had.
Well, I would also say that it's way more important in terms of who uses the bridge. It's got to be way more important to people in West Newbury going that direction. How many people want to go the back way from Newburyport to get to Garden Street, for example? Not very many.
So just in the interest of...
Yeah, I know, we have plenty of time. So what about asking, let's vote on the date, and then when we send the letter back to them and say, hey, we had met, I guess we should concur with them. We shouldn't have a different date. Okay, we concur, we're going to do it the same date you are. Could you please give us an update when you get information in, and maybe every quarter get an update or something like that? You know what I mean? Just so we don't forget about it and we're all here, people from West Newbury going, hey, you hear about the bridge? Well, we haven't heard anything about it. Maybe, you know, monthly updates or
I think they
quarterly updates?
They should let us know the result of the grant, and they should let us know the result of the engineering study when they get it, whatever time frame those are. Absolutely.
And their plan on when they're going to be able to fix it. So they're already into this.
What he said on that, though, just to reiterate, he said they are going to get the engineering study. So once they know what to do and how much it costs, then they'll do a plan on doing the fix.
Okay. It just sounds like they don't have the money, and they're already, I think, voted. They're probably already committed to the funds for this fiscal year.
Yep.
So the plan will be in place to try to fund it a year from now.
Yep, Rich?
Definitely.
So the question of the date, May 26th is, I would
May 25th.
To at least go to the end of Memorial Day weekend, because we're shutting.
Rich, we're going to change it to June 26th.
That's fine.
And
yeah.
Just so you know, our bias is to do it sooner because it's a safety hazard. We really don't want to push it off, but it's there. They're, like I said, they're driving the bus.
Right.
So we're not really agreeing with you, but we're going to do it.
Well, and I've seen the bridge. I know the problem out there. I have no problem shutting the bridge down. That is a safety issue. However, there are 13 roads to the center of town, West Newbury. We've got 4 of them permanently closed. Ash Street's occasionally closed, and now we're taking the 6th one out.
For a safety hazard, a critical.
Yeah, and I have no problem taking it down for a year or two and fix it, but the word indefinitely scares me.
Well, that's what scares me, because I think the same words were used for Georgetown Road, right? And I think Chapter 70 money, if I'm not mistaken, was given to Groveland or Georgetown to fix that, and then they realized, you know, we really don't need that road. Who cares? And then that money was diverted into other road projects in that town. And now look what we have. We have a road that's now has barriers across it that cannot be used. I just don't want this to turn into a Georgetown road.
I think Glenn's right. We need to keep on the city. We need to, they've said what their plan is, so we need to keep the dialogue going.
But I ask you to really pressure Mass DOT and say,
Well, they have to.
Enough is enough with shutting down access to West Street.
Yep.
And make sure that one gets reopened.
Well, have you seen it?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you really can't blame them. You know?
No, I know that.
I mean, so it's not like
the side of it is falling.
Yeah, but if you go the middle of it's not so good either.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody always thought they kept it like that to slow people down.
I move to amend the closure of Middle Street.
Thanks, Rick.
To June 26, 2018.
Second.
I'm going to vote no, because I want it closed immediately as a safety issue.
I don't blame.
I vote no too. Let's close it May 25th.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Now he's going to be right when I drive off of that now, and I can't, whatever. So, but with the caveat that we send a detailed letter, do you want to formulate, since you've been talking to them, would you formulate a letter so Mary can send it along with that?
Sure.
Formulate a letter about, we'd like to know about the grant.
Yep.
And do they have any anticipation on when the grant's going to be awarded?
See, I think that I'm just worried that this is
They're waiting for the state.
this is going to be like.
But when you apply for a grant, there has to be a deadline for the grant, and then there is I think, like, hey, you're going to hear by June 3rd or not. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe this is a revolving grant. Okay,
I just think of all the things on their plate, this is probably item number 739. And
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
okay.
We need to vote on it.
All in favor?
Aye.
What's the date you want to use?
June 26th.
I vote no.
26.
June 26th.
Okay, 2-1.
2-1. Okay, next. Can I just talk about that for a second? I know this is irritating the hell out of you, Joe, because you want to run over the town meeting. Is there anything out of this? Is there any guardrails and stuff that might be anticipation of what we're supposed to do on our end that we might have to fix when we have the new bridge that we need to start worrying about? You know what I mean by that? Because I noticed that reports talk about guardrails on our side too.
Yeah, the ones on our side, they needed like an extra post added to them. Nothing major, but there's no point in even thinking about that till we know.
But so
Nothing,
we can,
nothing now we can do.
yeah, and whatever our money that we appropriate with our line item budget over the next years, you'll have that in if we need to fix the guardrails over there. Okay.
But also on the closure, they needed 4 to 6 weeks to get all the signage, proper signage. You can't, it's simple, just going up to New Jersey barrier, you gotta sign it properly, do the detail properly.
I know, but it doesn't take that long.
It takes at least 4 weeks to get the sign.
I know, but they've known since February.
I thought they're the ones who told you.
Yeah,
You asked them, and they said, yeah, May 25th, and you said, okay, let's do it. And then they changed.
5 years to fix it.
There's other stuff to talk about.
I know. We got 25 minutes. The band's not going to start before you get there, Joe, I promise. Okay.
Is it about this?
No.
No, let's go. We got to keep. We have a time. We're not going to keep 100 people waiting.
Okay.
We have to keep going.
We're going to have 200 tonight.
Okay. Excuse me. Payroll warrants.
There was a lot of stickies.
Payroll warrants. You want to make a motion?
Oh, I move to approve the payroll warrant.
Second. Oh, no, I don't.
No, you can't do
I
that.
don't want to do that.
Second.
Discussion. Who's the?
Oh, I had a question on the payroll related to the note taker for the FinCom. I just wondered why their
I think the
rate of pay was twice as much as
right or wrong, I think the agreement that they struck a few years ago and we revisited is that she's paid $20 and for whatever hours she's actually here, she gets paid an equal amount to actually do the minutes for what she's not here. Right or wrong, that's what they did. So that's the answer to your.
It's almost like a salary thing.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the same amount at the end of the year every year, so it looks like it's more. We addressed this before, probably last.
We did.
Okay. I thought so, but I thought maybe it never got straightened out. Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
Invoice warrants.
I move to approve the invoice warrant.
Second.
Discussion.
There's a lot of stickies.
You've got some stickies here. I had one. I'll ask mine first. Maybe Andy, you might know what this one is. Well, it says Hilltop Securities. It's
Hey,
Hilltop Securities used to be First Southwest. They're our financial advisors.
okay.
Borrowing. And we have to do what's called continuing disclosure every year and update our bondholders.
Okay. All right. And Joe, you got some questions.
Yeah, I know this is a little bit of a detail, but has the finance committee designated one individual to sign for them?
That question came up today. I just assumed it was the chairman of the board, but Laurie asked me about that. So I sent Gary an email.
Yes
They
or
have
no?
to vote.
What's the answer? Yes or no?
we don't know.
They have not.
I haven't
We
heard
don't.
back.
No. The answer.
Oh, you
is
don't know the answer?
We don't know. And if they haven't, they need to do it at a scheduled meeting, a posted meeting, and it has to be in the minutes. They just can't say okay over the phone that who's the majiggy's going to do it.
I sent him an email today.
So, okay, I had two other things. One is the bicentennial invoice for their mailing is in this warrant. What?
I didn't see it. Did you?
It is in here, yes.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah. Yes.
I'm sorry. Yep.
So you know what? That's water over the dam. Whatever. I'm not taking a side on that. I think though, for the future, what we need to talk about is a policy that when boards or committees, they're volunteers, and I appreciate their time, but they're not up on the laws and regulations. So I think if there's and this is a future discussion, really. If there's a mailing or a survey also, that they should get an approval for it, probably from the town manager, not from us. I mean, I've seen people use Survey Monkeys. You have one committee paying for it. You have another committee paying for it. Why do we have separate surveys?
I don't know about that, but we need to talk about it.
Yeah, I think there should.
We need to inform everybody what the law is. That they can't be taking positions on ballot questions and stuff like that with town money.
Or any kind of question. Yeah.
Or any kind of question. So we have to make sure that people are aware of that because, again, I think you're right. They don't know, Joe.
Right.
And it's a double-edged sword in the sense. You know how we've always asked for people to be on committees and so forth and so on? We haven't had it. We've always had the same people.
Yep.
Wow. We're getting a lot of new people.
Which is good.
Which is excellent. But we don't have the people that have been on
institutional memory, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Institutional memory and the people mentoring them. There's all a bunch of new people, and so we've had this discussion before that we need to do that.
Okay. The other question I had was there was a invoice from the finance department. I see Lori happens to be here. Warren Sproul attended a new officials finance forum a number of years ago, and I happened to be talking to him. I said, "Oh, is that something maybe I should go to that too. And he said, no, it's a colossal waste of time that it's for like very beginning people on the finance committee. So, I mean, my question is, somebody as experienced as our treasurer, collector, accountant, is that, do we want to approve them a day to go to something was characterized as by a former finance director as a colossal waste of time?
Well, no, if it really is a colossal waste of time, and if it's for beginner finance committee people, or like finance department people. I don't know enough about it. I mean, maybe we want to know.
Finance people.
Okay, finance people. When is it?
June 2nd? Oh, yeah, June 7th. Yes, it is. You're right. Yes.
I don't know, my only comment is, I don't know how, you know, people, somebody from the Board of Health attends something about vaccines or whatever. I mean, we can't be vetting every conference. We don't know what one is appropriate, and that's not, I don't think, that's beyond the scope of our duties.
No, I believe it. I agree with the beginning of that, half of that statement, and then I said, no, that actually is our duties, vetting it, because we have to make sure that.
But how do you know about if it's a good vaccine conference or not?
I have absolutely no idea.
Exactly.
So maybe they need to come in and tell us about it, because my point being, okay, as a blanket statement, it is our job to vet it, so we don't have somebody out on 1,000 conferences a year, or things that aren't really worthwhile.
Okay, that's a good point.
That's what I meant. So
okay.
Vetting as in, I try to stay hands off, but if we're going out to conferences and it's really not going to, and then we have 2 people going to the same conference, why wouldn't we just send 1 person to the same conference?
Or none.
Or none. Or no, and then have that person come back and train everybody else on the conference. I mean, that's what you would do. I do in my business when we have health things. I send 1 person, and then they train everybody else.
Well, just somebody as experienced as our town accountant. I mean, this is like 10 levels above her, and probably 5.
Below her, you mean?
Well, below her, yes, below her. Sorry, I misspoke.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe 5 levels below the treasurer collector. I mean, if they need to go to this, we don't have the right people, and I think we have the right people.
So I have no idea about it, and I'm going to have to take your word on it, Joe, that you talked to them. So my thing would be ask them to come in and plead their case on May 14th, or tell us in writing exactly why they really want to go to that. And that should be another policy that we don't have when people go away to conferences, other than just telling us, hey, giving us a little short email saying, hey, there's a conference coming up. These are the reasons why I would like to take this conference. It would be beneficial for me to be able to learn these particular things, and then in turn would be beneficial for the town.
Or it should be approved by the town manager.
Yeah. To us, by the time we get this in place, it would be by the town manager.
Yep.
And the town manager say, yeah, that's a great thing, and then why don't we have a little thing afterwards when you come back, and we can get everybody involved in it, or, I don't think that's real suitable, and I think it would be more prudent for you to be in town. So I would go with that. If they could give us a write-up and we can do it by the 14th, that would be great.
So I would amend I move to approve the invoice warrants X to not include those 2 items, and they can come in and talk about it next time if they'd like to.
Or just send us an email.
Or an email.
They don't have to come in at night time.
Or an email.
That we can talk about at our next meeting. On the 14th. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we done?
Nope.
What else do you have?
Oh, we're done with this. Yeah, we just voted it.
Okay, yeah, no, okay, so follow up on meeting assignments?
Joe is going to get further information from Newburyport.
I would ask that we send a letter to them and just have Joe send it. We have to have a signature on it. Could it just be from the selectmen so he doesn't have to chase people around? Sincerely, the Board of Selectmen.
I'm going to give it to Mary.
You're going to give it to Mary, but then
to
Mary doesn't have to, chase us for signatures. Just send it off and say, hey, we've concurred with your date, June 26th, and these are some recommendations, or some, if you could keep us in the loop.
And
sincerely, Sincerely, Mary Winglass, Executive Assistant for the Board of Selectmen, or something like that.
And we should also revise our announcements we put out on our webpage. And we should also revise, last time we also talked about sending a physical letter to the people that live actually in that area. So we can send that out now. Okay. I think that's it. Future agenda?
Okay, I don't know if this is a future agenda item or not, but there's a big log floating around in Mill Pond. I'm not sure who's responsible for that, and I'm not sure if it's going to make its way down to the dam and do damage to the dam, and then we have a bigger problem. Okay, so I don't know if that needs to be on an agenda, but just make you aware of it. But the other one, I'm not sure who's responsible for it. I don't know if it's going to break the dam, but it looks like something's going to have to be done. And I'd like to talk about who's responsible for all these wires hanging around town. After this big storm, we still have, like on Main Street, there's wires rolled up, and you drive around town, there's still wires hanging down places. I mean, I'm surprised kids, I mean, I know if I was a kid, I'd be trying to swing from them like Tarzan or something like that. I don't know.
Well, the low ones aren't the electric.
I understand,
Yeah.
but couldn't they just start swinging on them and start pulling things down? And, I mean, are they just going to be here forever?
I don't disagree. I've seen a lot too. Yeah.
I just don't know. I don't know. All I know is I don't know. I mean, do we have to contact people? I mean, I understand this was a horrible winter and everybody's behind. But I think I don't know who I don't even know where to start. Is it Verizon? Is it Comcast? Is it National Grid?
I think it depends on whose wire it is.
Exactly.
Usually if there's a wire hanging down, the police are the ones that see it, and they contact whoever the utility is.
But I can think of 3 or 4 just.
Off the top of your head?
Yeah.
Some right over there, yeah. So I don't know. Especially when it's...
I don't know how we
it's
address it.
Close to the summer, there's be a lot more kids on the street now, bikes, and I don't know. I don't know what to do, but we probably should do something.
Okay.
The next time we meet, we need to, there'll be after an election, and we probably should reorganize, or at least if we want to reorganize, have that on there.
Yes, we should reorganize. That's supposed to be the first meeting after an election.
Yep. So the meeting will be on May, and I would make a suggestion that we reorganize at the end of the meeting.
That's been the past practice the last couple of
Just because the chairperson is going to, it could be the same chairperson, I'm not sure, whatever we're going to do. But, so the chairperson is going to be setting this agenda, and they should follow through the agenda. That's it that I have.
The other thing we had previously stated was the amendment to the personnel policy.
Right.
And
So will that be a formal public hearing, or what do we have to do for that?
Yes, everything's posted.
Okay.
And then the final item, we have Tony Roselli scheduled to come in on May 29th to review the 2017 audit. I spoke with him at length last week, and in 2017, we had several transitions. The treasurer transition from Mike Bertino to Andy, and the town accountant transition from Dave. I think there was a temporary person here.
Correct.
And then to Lori. So we had 3 transitions in that that position. So as a result, there were more comments than normal in the management letter. And unless anybody has any objections, Tony's going to come in during the day on the 29th to follow up with our finance team on the items that he identified in his management letter.
Is he going to?
Then he's going to come in and do his normal. Then he's going to
leave and come back, or are you going to do it at the end of the day?
I don't know his time. I didn't get into.
I mean, it sort of seems like the cart before. I don't know. Is it backwards to do to?
He did the audit.
Right.
2017.
No, I read all the corrections. In fact, I read them this afternoon.
That ended
Yeah.
June 30th, 2017. So today is 10 months later. So he's going to come in and see what things look like 10 months later, and then he's going to come in and give us his report on the audit and what things look like 10 months later.
Oh, okay. That's good.
So that's actually 2 birds with one stone there. rather than him coming saying, you know, you should be doing this best practices and do it.
We can see if things
Now,
got better, yeah.
Has everybody been given, has the finance department has been given that audit, or in the, no, he
The
just-
comments, yeah.
Yeah, they're just getting that now.
Andy, do you have it?
No, but you understand what I mean by that?
Did you get the comments from,
Do you have the management letter?
Tony?
I have.
Okay.
You understand my point?
He has it.
Yeah, no. It almost sounds like the way you said it was that he did the audit, and then there's 10 months that passed. So he wants to make sure, then we want to see if whatever, you know what I mean by that? So I want to make sure that the
Yes,
audit was
yeah.
done.
Yes, I do. Yep.
Yeah, so, and then everybody wasn't told 10 months ago, and then, you know what I mean by that?
Yep.
So it seems
Right.
like.
I don't know what he said 10 months ago and what he said in the management letter, if it's the same stuff. I couldn't tell you that.
Yeah, but you understand? What
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah, I
So
get,
then
yeah,
it comes
maybe,
across-
oh, what do you mean? You didn't tell me this 10 months ago.
Yeah, or.
I
yeah.
don't think that's what he's looking to do.
Okay.
No, which is fine.
Okay, I had a couple things, and just see whether, what you, A, do we know what happened with the recommendations from DLS, our best practices?
The time hasn't come yet. I think it's May.
It's May, okay,
I have it on my calendar.
okay. And did we ever get a presentation on the pocket waste treatment plant for the downtown? There was supposed to be a report to the selectmen.
I don't think they've done that. I
I
think
don't
both
think they're
those
at
things
that
are-
level
yeah,
yet.
They haven't come to any conclusion yet.
But are they still working on it, or I don't know?
Do you know? I think we got a letter from them.
We got a letter, yeah.
That's the only thing I know.
Okay, but are you happy with the letter? I sort of want more than that.
Yeah, no, I was waiting. I thought they were going to reach a conclusion and come talk to us.
Yeah.
That's what the letter said.
Okay,
We're waiting for that.
okay.
Okay.
Oh, my word, I was just gonna think of something. What were you just talking about, Joe?
Tony Roselli, personnel policy.
No. Okay, no,
Did it?
I think so.
I move to adjourn to the town meeting.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.